Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Good morning. I was fixing my mic. I got caught. No, okay, run it back. It is Monday. Happy. All right, let's just get it over with, Lou. Are you ready to listen to Chandler for, I don't know, 25 seconds? Here we go. Chandler, you have the floor.
That's all I get is 25 seconds. All the adversity, all the hate I've been getting, and I just get 25 seconds. Come on, Michelle.
Are you on your way out here to San Antonio? You should drive. I drove. It was lovely.
I definitely will not be driving, but I will be there Saturday, and I'm there all the way till Tuesday once we win Saturday, Beads. So,
dear God.
Let's get after it.
Ready for you. We're ready for you. Got all the tequila out here you could possibly drink.
Or number one seeds, though. I don't love it.
You know, that is going to be a topic of conversation.
What did you expect this year in college basketball?
Exactly.
This just shows
Why don't you love it?
Well, this just shows you the power of the NIL, right? All the big schools get all the best players. There's no mid-majors at all in the Sweet 16. So I like it because it's the best of the best. These four teams are the best four teams all year long. They deserve to be there. There's no Cinderella stories this year, but most consistent, best team, best conference, the SEC, and the University of Florida.
Big bank take little bank, Chandler. That's the name of the game.
I know.
Ask those little pharmacies how they fared when Walmart came to town. This is pretty much that in college basketball. It's all right. By the way, do we not want in our championships the best teams? Like, I don't get why we would be mad about this.
100%. And by the way, I want Duke in the final. I don't want Auburn. I don't want a team we already played this year and beat, by the way. I want Duke. I want the best of the best. And they're playing great. We're playing great. It's going to be fun.
Y'all going to have to stop them first before they see Duke. So
that's a great point.
Let's see how that go.
You know what? When I was driving through Arizona, I put a bunch of bets down because that's the only state between here and there that I could do it. I have Florida Duke in the final, and I have like 7 different versions of that with lots of money, Chandler. So help me God. It's the first time I've supported Florida.
I'm glad you're off that St. John's train, Michelle.
I don't know what I was saying.
I ain't gonna lie.
Because it was a fun story. I don't know why, but it seemed like a fun story. Another fun story Lou brought to our attention in the thread last night. And Lou, I'm forever grateful for you for having me flip over to this game because did we have a fight? And not just one of those like hold me backs, like a legitimate people in the front row got what they paid for fight. This happened yesterday. Naz Reid took a bit of an exception to a Ron Holland foul, and Dante DiVincenzo jumping in, trying to save the day. This thing goes into the crowd. A cameraman gets taken out. You got Holland, Isaiah Stewart, Marcus Sasser all being ejected for the Pistons. Coach Bickerstaff, Reed, DiVincenzo all ejected for the Wolves, along with Pablo Prigioni. That's a lot of ejections. This game went on afterwards. It doesn't even matter what happened in the basketball game itself. This is just, we haven't seen one of these in a while, Lou. What'd you think?
I was excited. I was like, finally, we got some legit action. Now, what started it don't look like a lot to me. I don't know whether this was brewing some plays before that or this game was chippy as it was, but this foul that was called, it didn't look like it warranted what happened. But all in all, listen, in a world of so many guys bluffing and acting like they're gonna do something in the NBA, we found the right guys. We found the right characters for this movie this particular time, and everybody involved looked like they wanted some action. And I think at the end of it, cooler heads prevailed, and they realized this is gonna be an expensive little dust up. So we're gonna go and clean this up a little bit. I like the fact that the coaches got involved. I like the fact that the players got involved. It didn't get, it spilled over into the crowd, but it didn't get too crazy. Nobody left the bench area or nothing like that. And so this is good. This is something to look forward to for time to come with so many of our young stars being involved. And Edwards was on the bench when this was going on. Cade Cunningham was in street clothes when this was going on. So this is something to look forward to for years to come as we continue to move with these two teams in different conferences.
It makes you wish Minnesota was in the East, which they geographically could be. But Chandler, what'd you think?
Yeah, watching that play, I'm with Lou. Like, obviously, this was brewing. For a couple of plays before that, it was getting physical. My man Ron Holland's been in a couple of these little dust-ups all season long, and I love it. I love the intensity. These are both teams that are playing for something. I love it for the Pistons, kind of bringing back that bad boys mentality, kind of, scrappy, tough. But again, there's going to be some suspensions. It didn't get too crazy. There's no punches thrown here at the end of the day, but I would consider this a fight. This was definitely a more of an old school fight. Like I said, still no punches and stuff, but you got to be careful getting into the crowd too and having people get hurt in the crowd. Nowadays, God knows if there's going to be a lawsuit if one of the players accidentally hit somebody, things like that. But I think this is great. I think it's two teams, like I said, that are playing for something, that are physical teams, that are trying to create and contain and maintain their identity and their culture. So I liked it. Nobody got hurt. There's definitely going to be some fines. There's going to be some suspensions, but I think this is great. This is great for the league. More of this, less threes, and I think a little bit of balance is good for the league.
You don't want the threes. You'd rather have this. I think the fan involvement, the fact that they were sort of collateral damage, might be why the suspensions are going to be. Maybe bad, Lou. Like, what are you guessing?
Yeah, I think because it spilled over and the fans were there and they were present and they were involved somewhat just by where they were seated. I think you got to look at it, but I also think that's what de-escalated this as well. Like I said, once they got over there and you started getting into the scrum, I think cooler heads prevailed and everybody realized, this can go somewhere else other than a scuffle with us. And, we got kids right here. We got people paying really good. Those are some big money tickets right there. You're affecting the bottom line, you're affecting the business. And so I think that's what kind of calmed this down and everybody backed up a little bit, the fact that it did spill over into the crowd. But yeah, you're definitely looking at some fines and some suspensions. I don't know who's who, but it's going to come out today, I'm sure.
Give me who you think, whatever the biggest suspension is, how many games are we thinking?
Probably a game or two. I didn't see any punches thrown. Now, it was a lot of confusion, but I didn't see any real punches, just a lot of grabbing, a lot of holding at the end. Yeah, so, but that ain't my place to say. That's for somebody else to say. From what I saw, yeah, it didn't look like a lot.
Ron Holland, DiVincenzo, and Nasri. Those are obviously the three guys that were, involved the most. When something happens like this, though, it's weird. Like the NBA will look at what players that weren't playing that left the bench, what coaches left the bench. Take one step onto that foot, that's considered coming on the court during a fight. That's going to be a suspension or a fine. So they're going to have to really dissect this video. Security honestly did a great job not letting it get too crazy in the crowd. We've seen this game before with the Pistons, obviously in a different arena, but we've seen players and fans get involved before. So at least it stayed controlled just between the two teams. But yeah, I think probably 2 or 3 games. Like there's no punches, there's no blood, there's no, it wasn't that intense. But yeah, like at the end of the day, it was kind of a pushing match again. But Holland, Reed, DiVincenzo, they'll get a game to 3 games, I bet.
It's like ugly but great. I'm with Chandler. Like I kind of loved it. I wish there was a little bit more of that. Yeah, right. And I love that it's Detroit, and it wasn't started by Isaiah Stewart, which I would have lost money on if you would have asked who started this. For sure, I would have said Stewart. But
I'd tell you, listen, I give him his flowers though. He was doing everything he could to pull DiVincenzo out of that crowd to get.
He was trying. He's trying to help. He also kept repping Detroit after the fact, as he's leaving the court on his way over there. So, anybody have any issue with anything about Isaiah Stewart?
No, you know what? Him doing this, repping Detroit. This is a young team that has found an identity, and they make sense for the city of Detroit. Like their fan base in that city, they're a blue collar town. They like this type of energy. So for him doing that, as much as the rest of the league and other fans are going to try to criticize him and call him different things, he's going to be a hero when he landed back in Detroit last night. Like, he's going to be celebrated because of the way that he's represented. They already have the mantra, Detroit versus everybody. You got the bad boys, you got all of that. So in 2025, for these young guys to be finding their footing in the league and creating an identity, being a part of something, this is a great look for them, whether it looks like something else outside of Detroit. But in Detroit, these guys will be celebrated because of this.
Yeah, that's a funny headline. Is Isaiah Stewart a problem for the Pistons? No, he wasn't. He had nothing to do with the fight. He had nothing to do. But yeah, he's embracing what they're doing there. He's embracing this movement back to the bad boys, this tough. I don't care if we win or lose. I don't care if it's a blowout, if it's a tight game. We are going to play physical. We are not going to back down. And that's kind of always the mentality that JB Bickerstaff's had. So, no, I think the opposite. I love the fact that Isaiah Stewart is repping, this is Detroit's brand of basketball. This is who they are. This is who they've always been. They lost it for a while, but they're back. And Isaiah Stewart is the heart and soul of kind of that movement. Guy averages 6 points, 5 rebounds. It doesn't matter about that. This is what he's there to do. And he's got a job there probably for a while because of this type of energy.
I mean, a lot of teams would want an Isaiah Stewart. I've said the Spurs, like somebody to protect your stars, somebody who's like the guy. Come playoff time, though, any concerns if he gets hot? I mean, if they play the Knicks, I'm here for all of that. But any concerns that he might go a little too far, Chandler, or no?
No, this is what he's there to do. He's there to mix it up. He's there to dive on the floor. He's there to play physical, to be on the offensive glass, to kind of he is that muscle of this team. Again, there's other guys that have roles on this team to score, to play pick and roll, to shoot threes. Isaiah Stewart's job is exactly this. So again, he doesn't need to get carried away. He doesn't need to start just bulldozing people, throwing punches, but this is exactly why he's there, and he's a perfect fit for that role.
This took over because it just happened. But the big story of the weekend was a bit of a shocker, I think, to everybody. Because on Friday, just randomly, the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins, the winningest coach in franchise history. On Saturday, their GM, Zach Kleiman, took responsibility, saying, quote, urgency is a core principle of ours. So deciding to go on with the move, he did not give a reason for the firing. At the time of it, they were 5th in the West with 9 games remaining. That's what happens on Friday. So I think everyone was like, and you even put it on Twitter, Chandler, WTF. That is the only response most of us could come up with. What are you thinking?
This is just part of the business that I hate. Even, I've never been a coach, as a player and now part of the media. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know Taylor Jenkins from Adam. I've never met the guy, but from an outside looking in, he's been an unbelievable coach. You just said it. He's the most winning coach in the history of the Grizzlies. He seems like a player's coach. I understand that their offense has shifted a little bit. He kind of went away from pick and roll, and now they're kind of doing all this other movement cutting stuff. They haven't beaten a lot of great teams. But the coaching, it's just a raw end of the deal that these guys get because they put in the time. This guy's dealt with so many injuries too. Look at that roster and look at their main guys, their core guys. They've all missed time. They've all missed so much time, and they've still managed to stay afloat. They're still in the 5 seed. They're still a game out of home court advantage in the playoffs this year with such a young, up and coming, talented team. And with 9 games left, it makes no sense to me. And maybe it's something personal. Maybe there's something we don't know in that locker room that these guys weren't rolling with Taylor Jenkins. But from the outside looking in, this guy's a brilliant basketball mind. Seems like a great dude, and he's made the most of what this team has been with the health issues that they've been through. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know him. Maybe there's something else there, but it seems like he's done a fantastic job there, and no doubt in my mind he'll land somewhere else.
Yeah, listen, I work with Taylor in Atlanta. He was my assistant coach for a few years, and enjoy working with him. I don't know what's his identity, what's his personality as a head coach. I know I really got along with him. He was a great guy when we worked side by side together. But sometimes, Chandler, man, these things can't wait, right? Like, you got a team that's 8-11 after the All-Star break that we're saying that's going to be one of the teams that's going to put pressure on the top. Then you lose 4 out of 5, and if you lose that locker room, why wait? You're in the 5th, but all year long you've been flirting with the number 2. You've been flirting with the number 3. This is somewhat of a slide, and some of these other teams behind you is the reason that you're still in 5th place. Like, Memphis hadn't played their best basketball. He's dealt with a lot of injuries, dealt with a lot of adversity in his 6-year tenure in Memphis. But, if you have an owner, if you have a GM that feels like the time is right now, you got to go ahead and cut the cord. I always reference back to the Blake Griffin trade in Los Angeles. We were in a great run, and it just got to the point where it didn't matter how well we were playing. It was time for them to part ways, and it looks like that was the situation here in Memphis. So I can't speak to what kind of head coach he was. I can't speak to what was going on in Memphis. But usually when these type of things happen, that means you've lost the locker room. And like they said, urgency is a core principle in Memphis. So why wait? And he was the casualty of that.
So there's a lot of to this as well, right? We'll get to sort of the assistant coaches they were already gone. So this wasn't even his staff. As you mentioned, Ja's been hurt. He's missed 30 games already this season, and their record since All-Star break. And the games they have won have been against the lousier teams in the league, which is why I think a lot of people are sort of scratching their heads. But the biggest part of all of this, and the part that doesn't make sense, and I know that the GM used the word urgency, but at the moment when this happened, you had 9 games left on your schedule. You are very much in the playoffs. I think the timing for most of us is what's the confusing part, because why not just ride this out? To me, you're sending the messages we're just giving up because we're going to put an assistant in and we'll see what happens and let the season finish, Chandler. But 9 games left, you don't just let him finish?
Yeah, well, I think they just know he's not the guy for the future. They know they're going to make a move. So why not mix it up? Why not light a fire under this team's, you know what, right now going into the playoffs? We know they're a lock for the playoffs, at least, say they get in the play-in, whatever. At least now they give this young guy, I guess, a chance to kind of see what he can do with this roster. At least now he kind of put other coaches on alert and start the job hunt now. But the timing, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to just kind of think of ideas right now on the fly in my head. But listen, it doesn't make sense. And again, maybe it's just because they're so certain that this is not the guy for the future. This is not going to be their head coach next year. So why wait? Maybe this kind of brings the team together more when you get rid of a guy like this. Maybe there's some underlying locker room issues that we are unaware about that just couldn't wait, and this was an urgent situation. But it doesn't add up. And then you see all the interviews afterwards, Jaren Jackson saying that's always going to be my dog, and Scottie Pippen saying I love this guy. He's the guy that let my NBA dreams come true. Desmond Bain was, he's been there with him the whole time. And so these players all have these relationships with him. We never seen any of the videos or heard about any of the controversy with this guy. So again, the timing was the weirdest thing, but clearly Kleiman and that front office knows that he's not the guy for the future, and they wanted to make a move now, and they sure did.
Here's where I disagree, though, Beadle. Yeah. I don't think they're mailing it in. We just said it. That's not even his staff. Those guys belong to the organization. And so when you make a switch to somebody that you're already comfortable with, that's in your organization, that you put in place to be one of his assistants, I think they feel as an organization, we're just going to keep moving because we're in the position that we're in. Let's look at an example in Sacramento. Sacramento brings in Doug Christie from front office, from being with the organization. They go on a great run with him. They're a rejuvenated team. Now I can't speak to the relationships that Taylor had with his staff. I don't know, and with his players. I don't have the insight on that. But again, behind closed doors, you don't know how these guys are reacting to the new coach. You don't know how these guys feel about the new coach. So for them to put him in position, and he's also part of the staff, this might can rejuvenate this team and get them back to where they're going. So again, if you're already a sitting duck, if you're already a lame duck in that job, and they already know they're going to move you, it doesn't matter that it's 9 games left. Matter of fact, give us the 2 weeks that we need to finish out this schedule to kind of find a rhythm going into the postseason with the guy that we already felt comfortable with putting on your staff to begin with.
By the way, my favorite thing from the weekend was our guy, Gigi Jackson, thought it was a Centel report. So I just love him. I love that guy, and I can't wait to we should get him back on the show because he'll tell us the truth of what's going on over there. I listened to a lot of sports radio on my 20-hour drive out here, and they had a few reporters that cover the Grizzlies. What was interesting was that, and the Athletic reporting it as well, is that they had been putting in this new offensive strategy that comes from like a D3 school, right? It wasn't Taylor Jenkins. It was one of the assistant coaches who's also now since been fired. And Ja Morant was on board at first and then was not on board. So I'm kind of wondering, like, when you have a guy like Ja Morant, who's obviously the face of the team, Lou, and you're trying to figure this out, and now you've got a whole new coaching staff in place, is the idea that we're still building around Ja Morant? Like, what do you feel like the Grizzlies are looking to do next?
That's what it looks like. It looked like it was going to be either Ja or Taylor, and you've heard the rumors about maybe Ja being traded in the summer, maybe being moved in the summer. You've heard it, whether it's NBA Centel or some of these anonymous sources that we get from time to time, and all of these things. But this is an organization that's committed to their star player. And talk about putting pieces around him. He got a bunch of pieces around him, got a lot of talent. It looked like the issue that they're having in Memphis is coaching, is scheming. How are we going to go about business? What is our identity? What is our culture? How are we going to play basketball that's going to get us over the edge of some of these other teams? You know, if you're looking around the league, the teams that are the best right now are, for lack of a better word, up and coming teams. Like OKC is an up and coming team. Houston is another up and coming team that are based around young talent. Memphis is still at that pocket. They're at the end of the young tag, but they're in that pocket. You got Jaren Jackson, you got Bane, you got Ja Morant, you got a GG Jackson, you got a Scottie Pippen Jr. who's playing good basketball, who's finding a role on that team. So you have a solid core of guys that you can build around, but if you don't have the offensive scheme to put them in to give them an opportunity to be great and put some real pressure on the West, then yeah, you got to part ways and you got to go a different direction. So to me, this is them making a decision to sway Ja Morant's way opposed to a coaching staff's way.
Yeah, and clearly this is what he wants and maybe what the players want. And Kleiman has always been great with having that, you know, that dialogue with players. But again, this is a team that's been in the top of the West pretty much every year he's been there.
Yep. They've
been, you know, they've been contenders, not exactly to make it to the finals and put themselves in that situation, but they've been this team on the rise that have surrounded Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson with a bunch of talent. And I see the reports on this new offense and this new 5-out offense versus pick and roll run and gun offense. And Ja Morant was getting frustrated with it. And the fan base was growing frustrated with, you know, his end of game situation and things like that. That's all stuff that most coaches have to go through. They're trying to adjust. And I respect Taylor Jenkins for trying to implement new offenses and systems, trying to get this team over the top. So again, I feel for the dude. I don't know him at all, but no doubt in my mind he'll land on his feet and he'll probably go and inherit a really good Philadelphia 76ers team next year, and it'll all be and it'll all just be a memory. But there's no way this dude's not going to be a head coach again in the NBA.
He may come to San Antonio, y'all. I'll let you know if I see him looking at houses around here. There's a good chance. I mean, he started here. He was an intern here, and all of us Spurs interns end up back in San Antonio at some point. I can speak on that. LaMelo Ball had some bad news for him over the weekend. On Friday, announced that he's going to have some procedures done, minor ones on ankle and wrists. So he's done. He has dealt, as we know, with the ankle injuries over recent years, and he's missed about 25 games in each of the past 3 seasons. We are officially in the final stretch. We've been saying that for a while, but do you think, Lou, they just kind of figured, well, we got a tank anyways, might as well do this now? Are we in Cooper Flag watch?
I think it can be a little bit of both, Beadle, honestly. You know, like you don't have minor procedures and surgeries for stuff that's not actually aching. So if these are a couple of cleanup things, you got to say that's a legitimate thing that they're concerned with his health moving forward. And also, it could be great timing as well. You know, put a little bit, few more lottery balls in the bowl for us to get an opportunity to get Cooper Flag. And so they got probable cause and they got a legitimate reason to shut him down because of the issues that he's dealing with his ankle and his wrist. But if we can also put ourselves in a better position to get Cooper Flag at the same time, then by all means, we got to give ourselves a shot. So I feel like it could be a little bit of both with this.
Yeah. Like I mean, it makes perfect sense. The team is 18-56. They're one of the bottom 3 to 4 teams in the league. They've lost 5 straight. They're 2-8 their last 10. LaMelo Ball has had kind of nagging injuries throughout his entire young career, and this is their everything. This is their stud. Dude averages 25, 7, and 5. He's only going to continue to get better. There's question on what is he the number 1A guy on a championship team? Who knows? We'll see. But where they are right now, where this franchise is, and where they're going, yeah, a Cooper Flag would be unbelievable to pair with the Brandon Miller and with the Bridges and the LaMelo Ball. And at least that kind of gets them the kickstart of catching up just simply talent-wise across the league. So, again, you see that missed 9 consecutive playoffs. That's not fun. It's not a destination. Guys aren't wanting to go there. They don't want to go necessarily, play with that group of guys and with, this kind of winning percentage over the last decade. So it's tough, but I do think long-term and short term, this is good to get LaMelo Ball healthy and try and get that boy Cooper Flag.
Have you ever just thought to yourselves how stupid this whole the lottery balls, that you might get another ball in the bingo card? Like, it's kind of a dumb way that we do this. I know we talk about it every year, but it seems really stupid and antiquated at this point. We have to take a quick break. On the other side, who would you rather take in a fight? Tibbs or Josh Hart? That's the question I want y'all thinking about during the break. We'll be back.
The running back, run it up, the running back.
I know Cooper Flagg still got a couple more games left, probably, but let's just fast forward. We did speak on the Hornets in the last segment. Lou, are you buying that Cooper Flagg makes the Hornets a playoff team next year?
I mean, I don't think so. Not yet. I don't want to make it about Cooper Flagg. I just think in the entirety of what you're looking at. You're looking at a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 9 seasons, 18 and whatever this year, finishing out the season. Is he going to be a guy that's going to flip that entire thing around? I'm not sure. I think he'll be a great piece to add to it. So right now, I'm going to say no. And if he was the piece to turn them into a playoff team, I think that precisely makes him the best player on that team, right? If he's able to come in and be able to change the culture in a way that's impactful in that way. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think LaMelo Ball is still going to be the guy for the Charlotte Hornets for seasons and seasons to come. But I think he'll be a great pickup for any team that's in a rebuild that's coming. But other than that, I don't think he comes in and completely changes the culture of a program or a franchise. So my answer is no, not buying.
Not buying. I mean, that's a turnaround. Well, look, the Pistons just had a massive turnaround in the course of a season.
Yeah,
we're not thinking
a lot has to go right. They have to sign other free agents. They have to get some vet guys like the Pistons that they have to add to what they already have of this young kind of solid core. And Cooper Flagg's going to be very good. But this is a team that's 15, 16 games right now out of the play-in. And that's including teams like Philly that's been, horrendous season, that they're going to be better. And every team that's already in, pretty much the Bulls, the Heat, the Magic, the Hawks, those teams really aren't going anywhere. Toronto's going to get a full off season with Brandon Ingram. So it's going to be tough. Again, there's a reason he's going to go number one to the worst team in the NBA, because they're the really bad team. So playoff team, I doubt it. Nowadays with the play-in and stuff, maybe they find a way to sneak in the play-in. Who knows? But right now, I would say no.
Okay, that's 2 no's. Moving on, Chandler. Pat Bev said that he would take James Harden over Dwayne Wade because of longevity. So are you buying that? Harden better than Wade?
No, I don't think he is. I think offensively, maybe he's more innovative. He's more creative. He scores better. He can play point guard. But when you look at the top 3 shooting guards, in my opinion, it's MJ, Kobe, and Dwayne Wade, and then probably you get to the James Harden. But listen, the longevity does matter. He's still cooking, still an all-star right now at this age, and how he's continued to stay healthy and put the work in. But yeah, listen, I think he's a top 5 shooting guard. You got to throw a guy in like Klay Thompson, who's also, one of the greatest shooters of all time, who's a shooting guard, and not even talking about the older guys with the Reggie Millers of the world. So Harden is very good. I love him. I play with him. I had my best year of my career with James Harden, but I'd probably have to rank D Wade over him, especially because we're talking about both sides of the ball as well. It's D Wade.
Lou, agree?
I gotta agree with Chandler. I'm going D Wade on this one. Both of those guys are obvious first ballot Hall of Famers. D Wade already having his way with that, but he's a champion. The things that he was able to do, the way, like again, we talk about shifting cultures. Dwayne Wade shifted culture in Miami and turned that team into a champion. With Shaquille O'Neal, and then twice more with LeBron and Chris Bosh. You saw the work that he put in and what he was able to accomplish based on, what he did at that 2-guard position. And James is still seeking that type of success. Individual success, he's had it. That's one of the things that you can't take away from James Harden. But at this point of his career, he'll tell you he'll probably trade all of that in for a shot at the NBA championship. And that's something that D Wade has experienced time and time again. And so, no, I'm not buying. I think it's still D Wade.
All right, that's 2. We got another one, Lou. Colin, this is a hot take. I'm just going to preface it. Colin Cowherd said that Cooper Flagg will be the best player to come out of Duke. Duke. The factory for basketball. Lou, you buying that?
I'm not buying that. So many different guys that wore a Duke uniform that I can think of before Cooper Flagg. And Cooper Flagg is still building legacy as a college player. Like, let's see what happens after next Tuesday. Like, let's see what conversation we're having then and then you can compare that to the resumes of some other guys that's worn Duke uniforms. But I don't want this to be a Lou Will don't rock with Cooper Flag type of show. But it's still work to be done. It's still work to be put in. And so no, I'm not buying that. And I'm also a Tar Heel type of guy anyway. So I'm not even the right person to ask this type of question to. But no, I'm not buying that at all.
Can we slow down, Chandler? Can we slow down with Cooper Flag? That's all I'm asking.
Listen, the kid has it all. He's got the swag. He's got the game. By the way, he is leading this team right now. As big of a Florida Gator homer as I am, Duke looks like the best team right now in the country. They have played extremely well. He plays both sides of the ball. He can play multiple positions. The dude's going to be able to play 1 through 5. I worry about his outside shooting. He's got to continue to shoot the ball better at an efficient clip. We're talking Duke. I mean, I don't even have to name the players that have come out of that school that have already had great careers, and this kid has yet to be drafted. So I think even doing these kind of rankings is not fair to him. Let's just let this kid develop and watch him become great. But he has a chance. I'll say that he's got a chance to be, the best player to come out of Duke. He's got a chance to be the best. He's probably the best freshman to ever play at Duke. I'll give him that. Best player.
That's a list we could start. Best freshman to play.
And you know what? And let me say this. It feels like we're getting in that time of year, Chandler, where we're starting to build our storylines and our narratives about Cooper Flag, to build them up, to break them down. I'm like, and I'm saying that because you're like, is he gonna change the playoffs, or is he gonna do this? Is he gonna do that? And then the minute that he falls short of the expectation that somebody else puts on him, he's gonna be less of a player because of that. Like, I wish we would just allow some of these young guys to grow and build and do the things that they're gonna do. So, Colin, I know that's his job, and he's gonna give you some shock jock takes from time and time again. But it's like, man, damn, just let the kid be what he's gonna be. And if he turns into the best player in Duke's history as far as basketball goes, then allow him to be that. But he's still building. Like, we don't know what's gonna become of that. And if he loses in the Final Four, do we still have that conversation? So again, it's just narratives and conversations that we build up to have
he
for
sucks,
somebody
Lou.
to fall short.
If he loses in the Final Four, he sucks.
It's a great comment though, because when he does get his ass busted by Florida in the national champion, I think the whole narrative may change.
Then we can all just put this to rest. He won't even get drafted. It'll just be a whole thing.
It's just a build up to break down.
You were a highly touted dude at a high school, McDonald's All-American. When you are that guy, and this kid, we've put him on this pedestal since Montverde, since the #1 high school team in the country, to Duke, and now he keeps checking every box he's going. So there is some responsibility on him that he's got to handle these expectations and this pressure of being that guy, of being the #1 pick, of being everything he's been already. And so far, he's handled it with class, and he's handled it unbelievably. And
I'm just noticing different angles. Like, we had a conversation earlier this year about a LeBron James comparison. You know what I'm saying? And now we're putting the best player in the Duke history on it. It's like we don't know. And it's okay for us. It's okay for us not to know. But us people in media now, that we're in media, there's like this thing where it's a rush to be smart. Somebody has to be the first one to say something and then look back years ago and say, "I told you so," whether it's good or bad.
Well, this
by the way, let's say I think he's gonna stink, and I think he's about do I get to be right? Like, what?
Yes, you do.
That's my prize. I called it that he wasn't gonna be that good, or he's gonna get hurt. Like, it's
precisely,
that's
Chandler.
currency.
Yes.
Yeah, so 5 years from now, you can be like, ha, 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 I was a genius. By the way, there sure are a lot of people wanting this kid to be the best. That's interesting to me. And someone in the comments said Grant Hill was the best freshman at Duke. So there's that. We have to redo that list already. We just made it up, and now we got to redo it. Okay, moving on, Chandler. Jalen Brunson said he would put his money on Tibbs in a fight between Tibbs and Josh Hart. First of all, I would pay all my money just to see. Yes, yes. So you buy, Tibbs might be crazy. He might be one of those fighters that, like, no rules and just goes nuts. What do you think?
He might be. Josh Hart would beat the brakes off this dude. Like, what This is them being silly. This is them having their relationship and their banter, and I love it, by the way. And I love that he's able to say this about a Tom Thibodeau, who's not the most personable guy, but Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, this dynamic of their podcast that does bring this side of Tom Thibodeau out that we've never seen before. Obviously, this is a joke. Obviously, this is lighthearted. But yeah, I'm taking the 30-year-old, versatile NBA player over the head ball coach here.
I don't know, Lou. I see a little Mick Foley in this situation, or maybe he goes for some brass knuckles when things aren't. I think Tibbs fights dirty. I really do.
Josh Hart beat the hell out that old man. Let's move on.
Okay, fine. We're moving on. Paul Pierce said that Jokic might be the most skilled player the NBA has ever seen. Lou, you buying that?
Ever? See, that's what we have ever. I can't fit my answer into like a 30, 45 second slot and think of all the skilled players that I've seen. Like, I don't know, man. He's gonna be in that conversation for sure. He's definitely gonna be in that conversation. Like, you can't really exclude him out of that right now. But then, you're going to have the Michael Jordan conversation. You're going to have a LeBron James conversation. You're going to have a Steph Curry conversation. You're going to have you're going to have a Kevin Durant conversation. We talk about skill. Skill is one thing. To me, skill is being able to shoot, run, dribble, pass, do all of these things. Then you're having a different conversation. And then the goalposts are going to start getting moved around about who won what and who did this and that. No, the most skilled, ever is a tough thing to put on him. I hate to put ever on anybody that's still building out their resumes, man. But he's gonna be in the conversation. So most skilled ever. That's tough, but he's definitely in the conversation.
Ever's one of those words, like forever, never, ever. These are tough words, Chandler. That when you hear them, you kind of take a step back.
Yeah, I'm copping deuces on this one. I don't know.
I'm not buying it, but I'm with Lou. Like, we're talking ever, all the greats, like, in the history of the world. And listen, there's no denying what this dude is doing. All the MVPs, all the accolades. His stats are absolutely gross. Like, the things about talent, you have to factor in size and ability to do things on both sides of the ball. And we see him at his size, throw these dimes and make everyone around him better while still filling up the stat sheet with rebounds and points. And he's efficient, and he's basically a point guard out there at 7 foot tall. So I think he will be in the conversation. I think it's his game is so unique when you start talking about the center position, what he brings to the table. But yeah, listen, there's going to be big Magic Johnson skill guys back in the day. There's going to be Victor Wembanyama, pretty skilled for his size. We've never seen something like that. So does that count more that he's 7'6" versus this guy? There's so much talent in the world, and Jokic will always be in the conversation. But again, to say ever is a little bit nuts, but not that nuts. Like, like I said, I'm not buying it, but I'm not buying it.
Not buying it. A new segment. Brett Siegel said there have been whispers and loud conversations on my part among league personnel about the possibility of the Spurs adding Kevin Durant, which would then make one of the coolest scoring trios with Fox, Wembanyama, and Durant. Chandler, are you buying that this would rock?
Yeah, I am. I think he's exactly what they need. I think it's good for him because it's not necessarily a super team that he's going to. So I think optics-wise, media-wise, he won't get as crushed to make a move like this. And honestly, I don't think he cares. Like, I think he's at the point he wants to win. He wants to have fun. He wants to get paired with talented guys. And this is a great duo to have that chance to be able to, be, Wemby to be under the tutelage of him and kind of expand his game, especially offensively, even more, having KD next to him for however many years. I think it's perfect. It's interesting to see, what they'd have to give up if he could just sign there. Like, there's details of it. But man, that trio, that big three it's interesting to see what kind of, if Pop is going to be back. I hope, knock on wood, health reasons, but go get Kevin Durant. I bet you Pop is back next year to coach that team. So that would be awesome. And I do think this fits. I think his time is out in Phoenix. That did not go well. And I think San Antonio, this is exactly what they need to kind of be that up and coming scary team to contenders with Kevin Durant.
I don't think they are a super team, but they would definitely be called a super team, Chandler.
Mhm.
That's how this thing works, especially when you got a guy like De'Aaron Fox having a resume that he's having, and you got Wemby who's still building a legacy, and we're already putting the evers and the best ofs and all of that on Wemby as it is, and we already know what Kevin Durant brings to the table. Like, I don't agree with the notion that this will be a super team, but they're definitely going to be called one, and I think this will be a great fit for Kevin Durant because you can allow these young superstars to do all of the heavy lifting, and you can still go out there and be Kevin Durant, and all the success isn't on your shoulders. You become the OG, you become the vet to one of the best players that's predicted to be of the NBA in a very, very long time. So for you to go there, have a point guard of the future, have a whatever Wemby is, 1 through 5 of the future, and you be the same thing, and they put great pieces around you. I think this is a fit that makes sense for sure.
My God, those ticket prices have already gone up. It's going to be insane. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to take a look at what's still on the line for the last of these NBA regular season days. When we come back.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Got a little who you got just under, believe it or not, 2 weeks left in the regular season. A lot on the line. There's a lot of movement still up in the air. We're going to start with Mavs, Kings, and Suns, all battling for the 2 play-in spots out west, only separated by a couple of games. So who you got taking the final 2 spots, Lou?
I like the Mavs, and I like the Kings. I think those are the
Okay.
teams I think those are the teams that's shown that they're fighting for those last 2 spots. They're in prime position to keep those spots right now with the Mavs being in 9 and with the Kings being in 10. I just got more faith in those 2 teams moving forward. I think those 2 get in.
So no movement for Phoenix, Chandler, you agree?
Yeah, I think they've dug their hole now, right? They're a game and a half out, then the 11th seed. I think if it's going to come down to the Kings and the Mavs, I think the Kings win that game with what they have right now in a play-in type of system or situation. I think they're better off. No Kyrie Irving for the Mavs is detrimental. I think that's going to really, really cost them come the postseason, come the play-in tournament.
Yeah, so here's the thing. They had their worst loss of the season against the Rockets. By the way, some of those point totals yesterday were insane. And Kevin Durant left the game with an ankle injury, which is the biggest part of that entire story. I'm assuming your answers are also based on that, right, Chandler? Like, if KD can't go, this isn't even a question.
Yeah, I think, listen, Bradley Beal's been in and out. Now KD's been in and out. And like I said, they might not even make the actual play in. Like, they're not even going to get in the top 10. So I think it's over. Again, we're talking a couple weeks left of the season, and no Kevin Durant is going to be a real huge hole that they just can't get out of. I truly think that. And the Mavs as well. I think when you take a Kyrie Irving off and you're kind of funneling all these guys in that haven't been there before, and Anthony Davis did come back and return, and they do have enough. But I think the Kings, for the style of this play-in, for a 1-game elimination game, I think they just have more.
Have we changed at all on our stances on what Suns do this offseason? Is everybody up for movement? We're still there. Nobody's staying. Okay, yes. Yeah, even Booker, like, everybody's up. Okay. I just want to make sure if that changes, we'll get back to you. So the Rockets are kind of fun. Number 2 in the West, but the Denver Nuggets are 2 games back. The Lakers are 3.5 games back. Who you got taking the 2 seed? Will that change by the time this season ends, Chandler?
I don't think so. And you got to give so much credit to the Houston Rockets. Do I think they're the second best team in the West? No, I don't. But I do think they are going to be a hard out. I think they're one of these teams on the rise. They have one of the deepest rosters. They have some of the most young assets that are going to be super intriguing for a guy like Kevin Durant this summer when you look at everything they will have to give up. I think the Nuggets and the Lakers, I will beat them in a series, but you can't discredit what they do. They play on both sides of the ball. Like I said, they're deep. They can shoot. Udoka is one of the best coaches in the NBA, so I love what they're doing. I think they're going to be even better next year, and I think they're built to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're just 1 or 2 pieces away from really being contenders in my eyes, but man, they're on the right path, and they are fun to watch. They're tough. They score. They got it all.
Dropped 148 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree, Chandler. I think they're the real deal. I feel like they're the real deal because, this whole year they've been in that number 2 spot. They've been just as consistent as a Boston. They've been just as consistent as a Cleveland, just as consistent as a OKC. Slid all the way to 5, maybe even 6 if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but I know at one point they slid to 5, got their act together, and came out of the All-Star break, ran off 8 or 9 in a row, and put themselves back in the position that they were in to begin with. You know, so outside of a 2-week stretch where they didn't play their best brand of basketball, this team has been very consistent. So I think it's a changing of the guard. I'm gonna start front loading on these young teams and give them credit. I don't think this is a down the line or a future thing. I think they feel like they have enough to win right now and put some real pressure on OKC to try to get out of the West. So I'm gonna give them that credit today. I think
Lou, that's a great point. When they dropped to 5th, a lot of us were like, see, that's who they really are. Like they sort of just, and now they're right back up there. So it's actually a great point when looking at the Rockets. The best record in the league right now, we all know, Thunder 62-12, Cavs 60-15. They have 8 and 7 games left respectively. Lou, who you got for the best record? Can the Cavs do something here in this very, very final stretch?
I want to give it to the Cavs because, you know, what they were able to do this year, putting themselves in that position has been nothing short of amazing. I want them to be the best team that comes out of the entire league, but I still think it's going to be OKC. It doesn't look like OKC is going to rest anybody. Doesn't look like Cleveland is going to rest anybody. So I don't think much changes up until game, 2 or 3 games out. By then, I think it'll be decided. So I still got OKC as the best overall team.
Yeah, I agree. It's the Thunder. 62-12 is insane. We always talk about how deep they are, how young, how youthful they are, and they're going to continue to be that. They plug and play. No matter who's out for this team, they have enough to win games. And the Cavs kind of went through a little rocky road here the last couple of weeks, but give me the Thunder.
Yeah, they're on a 9-game winning streak. They're not slowing down. Taking a quick break. More Run It Back on the other side.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
This bracket season, FanDuel letting you make the call because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Bet on everything from team totals to point spreads and even who's cutting down the nets. There's tourney action almost every day, and America's #1 sportsbook is the #1 place to bet the tourney. So download the app, get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. We got a game tonight, guys. The Rockets at the Lakers, late game. There's been a lot of chatter. This is Lou's favorite subject. There's been a lot of chatter out there about teams wanting maybe perhaps a series with Houston or OKC simply because of the youth involved, which I think is a scary thing to say. So Chandler, do you think that the Rockets hear these types of statements? Do you think this is chalkboard material?
Can I start by saying I love when you read those promos? You're really good at it, Michelle. You always nail
Thank
those.
you. Thank you. It's the reading. I learned it early.
I do think that. I think part of that young team, part of that youth, the youthfulness of, not being respected is what you think you should be, being slept on, not being called. They definitely hear that. And I think Udoka and the coaching staff uses that as even more motivation. But it comes with the territory. You're playing against Jokic and Jamal Murray who have been there before. You got to go through a Lakers team with LeBron and Luka who have been there before. So I think that's natural part of it. But they're on, like I said, they're on the rise. They are a team that's in great shape. But yeah, they definitely hear the noise. So does Cleveland. You don't think Cleveland feels disrespected that no one really thinks they're going to beat this out after the season they had? So yeah, teams definitely feel that way.
Can't be thinking that, Lou. It's dangerous. He hates these anonymous things. He hates it so much. You know what? We're starting the whole show tomorrow with anonymous quotes. There's going to be a segment for Lou. That's going to do it for us. Back to NBA tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Sit down, Chandler. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Same David.
Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.